Okay, so we are going to the match, GLHF, and let's see if the red is really going to stick with Asterix. And if it is, then we'll have to restart or whatever, replace players, or play 2v2, or just simply reschedule, because unfortunately, if the players or other clans don't have enough players, there's not much else to do in this case. So, we are playing on Marsh, and the first right now is going to be at the very start Piske, who is at the bottom spawn together with 0BR and Asterix BR, and well, all three Thors casting Dwarven Mines just at the very start, and he is going for a very nice placement of the Hunt at the back, which means that he will be having some hippos or hippos around the base, and also a bit of a water buffaloes, so this is kinda okay so far. Yeah, the lag seems to be kinda annoying, but it's all the time at the start, so let's give it a few seconds or whatever. Maybe it's going to pick up its pace. So far for us, it's not really all that bad. Yeah, you are annoying from the start, so I'm not going to listen to you and at all, because you just want admin wins out of this, which is going to happen as easily. So far the lag doesn't really seem all that bad, but usually it's a bit worse for the players themselves, as they really can see what's happening with their units. And if it comes for them like this, then yeah, we should be saving overall, but they are having just yellow shield, not red, so it shouldn't be really all that bad. So let's see if they really insist or not. So we are looking at the starting position right now for the yellow player. It's also having quite nicely placed Hunt together with a few picks in here. Otherwise, not much interesting so far, as he went for a bit of an aggressive scouting with this Ulfsark. Right now discovering a relic right next to his opponent's base, which is cheaper villagers, which is not half bad, of course. And let's see if it's going to be making any kind of difference. Another relic at the bottom, which is for a bit better villager hit points, not half bad either, especially for potentially Oranos. And since Rango is right here, well, that's probably going to be him picking it up because he doesn't want to lose it, and it's going to be some extra protection for his civilies from potential raiding of his opponents. The last to have a look at from ONU is going to be 0BR. 0BR as Oranos, who would definitely be having the most of this relic with his citizens, but he is not going to be as lucky, and otherwise at the back a bit of a Hunt, very nice save, together with those water buffaloes, and the TC is also nicely positioned, so not any kind of problems for him. So very nicely positioned piggies already prepared to being gathered from in just a moment, or rather in just a moment when he runs out of Hunt, which is going to be of course quite difficult on Marsh, and 10% villager speed. All that's actually pretty nice, and since 0BR has discovered it, he might be interested in somehow capturing it, or at least have his ally. Maybe even Piske BR going for Jason before advance and go for it, because obviously this would help him quite a lot, as Atlantean villagers are not all that fast. So the first to have a look at, rather already second, and say we have already seen a bit of Rango, is right now going to be the red player Mor0nZ. He's also having a very nice position of the Hunt, whereas on the right yet another save Hunt, together with very nice gold placement and water buffaloes. So he's having a pretty nice map overall, and he definitely won't be disappointed about this spawn. Without a bit of extra relics, which is better gold and wood get rates, not half bad. Extra relic for gold trickle, and I think we have already seen this. No, we haven't actually. As 5% building crush armor, and obviously that's going to be help of any player, and especially one that will be under attack from some early aggression of these opponents. So Temple being drawn by IMJF in the middle, who is the strongest player of Mor0nZ, with rating on Woobly something like 1850. You may know him under the nickname MMC Dragonfire. And well, behind his base, nicely positioned, and also quite safe gold actually. He can just build a wall here and it's going to be super safe without any kind of problem for him, or rather any kind of chance for his opponents to go and raid it. Well, that's definitely something that could be making a difference in the late game. The last and first that we have looked at from Mor0nZ is going to be Rango, who is hoarding a lot of relics in here. He's already having the better villagers than infantry hack armor, and also cheaper villager food cost, and that's actually quite a decent lineup in here that could be making him quite strong in the game. And since he's rare, he's probably going to go for pretty much standard 2TC faster heroic. He's going to be quite threatening in about 9 and 10 minutes with his chariot archers, radiant, and potentially later with maybe even some camels or whatnot. So that's some kind of adventurous hunting from Asterix BR, as he's thinking that he needs to get there as fast as possible from some kind of source here before he actually falls to the back. right next to these cranes, together with the gold as well. And we should be seeing some advances soon. Yeah, 86% from Freya to Freya, and that's really pretty fast from Asterix. And even though we are at like 440, that's going to be one of the first advances with 0 BR. And, well, Asterix in here being exactly advanced at pretty much the same time. We'll be seeing some other advances, 77% into Athena. Okay, so is this going to be some kind of triple? That could be it. That could be it. But looking how actually 0BR is already building bases inside the vicinity of the red player, who is right now being nicely scouted by all 3 oracles at all the crucial points. Well, this might not really be all that bad for him and could really be a foundation for some very nice early aggression, but he needs to be careful with those willies. Even though he has a manor in here, that's definitely going to be not safe at all. Here you can see the second TC from Dra already being captured, as that's going to be expected in here. And well, raiding with the Valkyrie, of course, and she will be at least seeing where the food gathering is, but it's of course right next to army and military buildings, so that's not really going to be all that successful for her. Red, in the meantime, is also having a pretty nice base right inside his home base, of course, and he's also having a pretty decent amount of units right about now. And since he's also Thor, well, it could be quite interesting if he's going to switch into raiding cavalry sometime soon. Yeah, or he already is, and they will be probably both of them, him together with the Thor in the middle. I'm Jeff, going for quite a lot of raiding. Yeah, he's very nicely vault also, so he's protecting this gold very nicely indeed, and the hand also as well. And he doesn't really need to leave the shell of this, because he's having quite a lot of hand on left. He's probably going to develop even into the cranes of his ally. And well, when he finishes with that, he will be forced into a bit of an aggressive hunt in here, which is not going to be safe, but really shouldn't be all that much of a problem. What's interesting is that there is a double brewing on the right side with Piske BR and 0 BR going into an offensive. And is that going to be enough? Well, right now they've actually given up their position to Raido. I kinda thinking that he might be going for towers, but since he doesn't have a tower around here, which is unfortunate for him, so as we were talking about, nice spawn for him at the very start, it's not really ideal because of the towers. They are just in here and at the back. Yeah, literally useless. Only this one is pretty good tower, but otherwise it's absolutely brutal because it's not guarding anything at all. And this could be a bit of a problem if the double from ONU is strong enough, but let's see if they can actually develop it. But look at how they are actually having the restoration from the Zeus. This could be really strong, but they definitely need to cooperate a whole lot better. Has been a forest fire at the back, as this battle is going to go just one way, so let's have a look how effective it was. Well, not much, obviously, just killed us just this deer, and there's quite a lot of wood extra for the purple player, so not really all that much of a problem. But let's have a look into the right side, where you see a bit of a battle between GF and Raido, and with the rain being cast by Rango, it's actually going to be blocking Shockwave for the Oranos player, which is a bit of a problem, as he probably did not expect that. So yeah, let's see how the Scottic or other raiding cavalry are going to do here, with already being in medius for the red, which is pretty nicely played, and it could be strong, but I don't really think it's going to be strong enough, because obviously we see a lot of hoplites from Piske BR, and even though he's taking a whole lot of his army from his own base, he just built his army, rather military base right next to him, it's not going to be all that easy for him. But he should be also seeing what's happening on the left in Rango's base, and he's right now doing a pretty good job of disrupting the economy and basically nullifying the reign of Rango, which is very powerful at this stage. And yeah, you can see that he's even putting out the villages before Yellow has left, and I kinda thinking that he should be coming back and at least trying to kill as many villages as he can. But he has disrupted the economy, and that means that the blue player is not going to be having as much advantage as he hoped from the rain. And that will put him down a bit, which means that Asterix will be in a pretty good position to potentially defend him in the early heroic age when he advances sometime soon. Right now though, the double on the right is pretty strong, as they are having pretty much the correct units in here, and with Asterix joining in just about a moment, I was going to say that he's going to join in, and it seems that he will, and even the reinforcements from the throwing axeman, which is exactly the correct unit, are probably not going to be enough. You can see that Red is also having quite a lot of them, and oh yes! Well played from Rango. These shifting sands are exactly going to be saving this battle, because this basically means... Oh no, I'm not really sure this is correct, this restoration, because there's not really all that much army from Piske and 0BR. And looking how 0BR is actually having just a lot of Turmas and a few And with few Prometheans and whatnot, I don't really think this was worth it, because he needed to wait for all the army from Teal, and then he would be able to take down the TC, and that would be very valuable for him. But so far, it seems like that the battle is, well, kinda equal so far, I would think. Kinda surprisingly, looking at how much TC fire is there actually going from the TC, obviously. And are we going to see some towers being upgraded sometime soon? Those two could actually be useful so far, rather at this stage, but they don't seem to be, with Hathor coming in from Rango. And will he be fast enough with this out? Because right now there is a bit of an army, especially from Asterix, as we are seeing all three players from ONU being in the same place, and the TC is coming down. Yep, so nicely played in the end. They have been able to kill Raido, who is right now at 0 TCs, and even though he has been able to get away with at least those 7 villages, there's a whole lot of rest on the right, and they will be definitely ripe for the taking, because if they do it well, I would be taking some Turmas from 0BR, and he needs to be looking for some kind of villies that will be hidden somewhere. But they might be thinking that the opponents have actually run away. You know, run that they should have made, and well, this is quite an interesting moment right now for Mor0nZ, because they will be playing one player less, as they don't really have all that many extra TCs. They could be going for this one, as otherwise it's not really going to be safe. Whereas at the same time, Asterix VR is going already for a 3rd TC, and it's a front one, so he will be having pretty nice beachhead and a very nice defensive position with the long houses in here, as he will be probably tasked with stopping his opponent. Rango is already attempting to do so with this raiding. He was trying to stop them. Migdol, unfortunately for him, unsuccessfully, which is very nicely covering the goal, and Blue needs to be careful if he doesn't want to be surprised. There's still quite a lot of to be raided, and yeah, right now very nicely played. 0BR is going to be seeing exactly that, and as soon as Red is noticing those Turmas, he should be running, and yeah, he exactly is, because right now this could be a bit of a problem that could kind of develop into him being put out of the game altogether, and I'm kind of thinking that Purple should be taking care of this. Either Purple should be sending Turmas, or Teal should be sending Toxots, because they definitely need to get rid of all those, as they need to die, as when they do, the 12 Dwarves dead at this stage of the game without TC, well, this would basically develop into proper 3 versus 2. So far it's not all that assured. Asterix right now advancing into Heroic through Bragi, so he can be potentially quite dangerous, and yep, just waiting for the right moment in here, and they need to go there. They are trying to run away, and they are not paying any attention. Come on, Onus, you need to pay attention on the right side, as even though you were doing quite nicely with actually trying to prevent the gold gathering at the very back, well, you are missing a pretty huge opportunity and potentially giving some extra chance of Raido coming back into the game. On the left side, Asterix is having a pretty decent army to get with the boars, and he will be quite probably building them quite nicely very soon. And yep, they are right now reacting, but way too late, and Biska is also forced to retreat, because IMGF is having a pretty decent army, and especially quite a lot of throwing axemen, which are not even mediums, but they are still good enough, and they will be wrecking those hoplites very easily. But looking at how extra TCs are being built for all the players in here, as 3rd is being taken for 0BR, whereas the pocket player Biska BR is also taking 3rd right now. So there's 3 TCs for all the ONUs, which puts them in a pretty good position. Looking how for Mor0nZ, we right now have just Rango and IMGF contributing to the battle overall. So this means that they are, or rather ONUs should be in a pretty good position to basically double their opponents as they please. They seem to be heading in this way, but without any kind of siege, I wouldn't really be going for the Migdol. I would be just going straight into the heart of their opponent's base, as that would be much more useful for them at this stage than just trying to fight the Migdol and losing quite a lot of units without being able to take it down fast or successfully. This is going to be a bit of a battle, so let's see. And actually Asterix is going for flaming weapons with Heroic Age for 0. They are also coming in. So Migdol is right now going to be coming down, which is very nice for them, which I did not really expect that is going to be happening. And can they actually stop with the 2nd here? It seems that they could, especially with the flame weapons, they will be having a very nice attack. So they should be stopping well, Blue right in his tracks, because right now, when he loses all the army, he won't be having any extra chariots and camels, and he will be forced to just build a few extra units from the barracks, and they are definitely not as strong, and they will be killed very easily by their opponents. And yeah, you can right now see that the flame weapons are making quite a lot of difference and are putting Blue in a pretty tough situation. So far we don't really see all that many help from Green, but once he arrives they are going to be in a pretty good position, especially if he casts flame weapons himself, but I don't really think he will need to, as the armies from Asterix and Zero BR are quite depleted at this stage. And he should be able to carry on without using his hero power just now, or rather god power. So nicely played, economy disrupted, and Jeff is actually going for flame weapons, so he wants to make this a pretty strong victory, basically eliminating any kind of army from his opponents. But yeah, as we are looking at the battle right now, we also need to check on the minimap where Teal is trying to break through the walls on the right side, with this battle of course going for green, but not as convincingly as I would have thought a bit earlier. And yeah, he's right now through, and he will be trying to house Jeff and also maybe even take his TC down, which could definitely happen looking at the army of hoplites, as 11 hoplites without defense would be enough to take down a TC. But Green is returning back, as he needs to defend exactly against this, but this is also working quite nicely. But unfortunately ONU weren't careful enough, and they have allowed Raido to retake a TC, and right now he is back into the game, as he's working on his economy. But still, he was like maybe 5-7 minutes without anything at all, so it's going to be quite difficult for him. And we also see a bit of a rating on his gold wheelies. Exactly, that should have been happening a bit earlier, but well, at least they are going well nice. Well, right now, with Green trying to take second TC, Devin still at just one, and well, you can see that Teal was seeing that something was happening with the TC in here, but he actually chose a pretty terrible moment to go into a battle, as he doesn't have enough hoplites to take care of the TC. As yeah, there was quite a lot of army from Raido prepared exactly from this. So there's going to be needed a bit more effort from Teal or any other players to actually finish with Raido on the right side, whereas on the left there's a pretty nice attack from Teal, as Piska BR is right now at 4 TCs and is pumping as many units as he can. He's stealing classical, yes he is, same as Raido. And he should be kind of thinking about advancing into the next age, as so far it's not going to work him. It's really not going to carry him all that much if Mor0nZ plays this correctly, and so far Geoff is playing very well, and if he is right now careful and doesn't lose any kind of villages and really takes clever battles, which so far seems to be the case in here, he could be holding long enough for Raido to come back into the game and Rango becoming dangerous. But at the same time, Honors are already having pretty decent advantage, very nice base, the forefront right on the doorstep of the blue player, having also 4 TCs, which is a pretty big difference. But yeah, well, without extra upgrades, those hoplites might just not be enough. Also very nice switch into Jaros from Asterix, as he needs some extra cavalry that would be a bit stronger than the medium raiders, and he will be in a pretty good position to take care of this Petsuchos and also of those two badges, exactly because of those Jaros. So let's see about this battle. How's it going to develop? But so far it seems to be reasonably well going for the yellow player, but not really all that well that it would be decisive. But on the right side we also see a bit of an army by Piska BR, who is right now trying to make sure that he deletes Raido out of the position, or rather out of the game altogether. And he could be successful, especially if he doesn't receive any kind of help from Jav. But Jav seems to be in exactly the correct moment, or rather correct place. And well, right now those 13 hoplites will be more than enough, together with those Toxos, because they have already taken the TC down before, to like, yeah, third of 8 points. But they need to be fast enough, because obviously Jav is on the guard, and he will be quite ready to go in with all those Valkyries and throw in Axemen exactly the army that is needed in here. So let's finish with the TC. Whereas on the left we see that Purple is trying to basically capture the TC that is the front of Jav in the middle of the map. So TC down, and yep, Raido is back to 0 without any kind of population, and Teal is also taking yet another TC, and it seems to be that it's going to be going quite well for him. And we see the first resigns here, and Raido is thinking that he cannot really come back for the second time, and the Geoff with Rango are following just about now. So well played, and GG. Yeah, this was definitely lost because of some imaginary luck for you. It wasn't really all that imaginary, I would expect that there was something, but this wasn't lost because of luck. This was just better strategy and better execution by the Brazilians. So let's have a look at the post game. With Asterix BR being the MVP, he played really well on the left, containing Dra, that was potentially the most dangerous player in there if left unattended, but he did really well. And also, once he joined on the right side into the triple, that was exactly what decided the battle in Red's base. When did he lose the TC? Let's have a look at the settlements. At about 9 minutes, and he built yet another one at 15. Okay, so he was 6 minutes without any kind of TC. Yeah, you could have seen that he had basically no presence because of that, obviously. So, GG.